The cult of feminine energy is something we got to talk about because social media is all filled up with this idea that we all got to talk about feminine energy. And if we rest in our feminine energy, we're going to get whatever we want. But we're not going to be able to harness feminine energy if we do not face our masculine energy first and solve whatever is going on there. Because we cannot step into feminine energy if we do not master and face our own masculine energy first. That is why it becomes a cult. So let's get into it. First things first we gotta look into is if you're someone who's out there searching up feminine energy this, feminine energy that, you are literally in your masculine energy. And I do not blame you because I am smart enough to understand that if I do not use the words feminine energy or black cat energy or whatever, then social media is not going to push my videos. And I want you guys to have, I want you girls and gays too, to have the advice that I give you here. And we're not going to get anywhere unless we actually use these buzzwords that social media is all about today. But when we get into a trap of relying wholeheartedly on these buzzwords of like feminine energy, what we actually do is that we step way more into our masculine energy. We step way more into our masculine energy because what we do is we chase. We're like, okay, I'm going to watch 30 videos about feminine energy. I'm going to watch 30 videos about self-growth and becoming a feminine woman and how I can use feminine energy to get a man. Girly girl, that is chasing. That is not you resting. That is actually not going to make you be in your feminine energy. It is going to make you masculine, and it's actually going to make you think first and foremost that you're in your feminine energy. It's going to make you brainwashed to believe that now you're entering your feminine energy era. You're going to have that facade for a little while. Like, oh, I'm going to go buy myself a little cute dress and now I'm feminine. No, what you're doing is you're actually repressing your masculine shadow self that has been overruling your nervous system, probably, especially if you're a woman, neurodivergent, all of this, like, you're going to be primed to be more in your masculine today because everything is all about equality and women need to do as much as men or more because we always end up doing more. And so we're naturally stepping into our masculine energy, but we don't face it. We don't talk to it. We don't let it sit, because what we do is a lot of times we end up thinking that feminine energy is all about letting go of masculine energy, letting go of problem solving, letting go of whatever is considered masculine, taking action, leading, all of this. Let me say something. I believe wholeheartedly that women are better leaders than men. So leading might actually be a feminine trait, but what we usually attribute it to is masculine energy and, ooh, well, I need to just be the receiver. Yeah, you need to be a receiver. And if you're someone who's been pushed around, you've been a people pleaser, you've been doing everything for everyone, you've been the therapist for your mom, your dad, your hamster, and like your narcissistic ex-boyfriend and friends and whoever, then of course you're gonna need to balance your feminine and your masculine energy, but you're not gonna be able to balance these things if you do not face them. If you do not say, okay, I will actually let you exist to masculine energy. Because what you do when you just step into feminine energy and that's the only thing you're focusing on is that it's kind of like having a health problem. And instead of solving your health problem, you just kind of like, I don't know, start trying to get alternative ways of feeling good. It's like, I don't know, maybe you were having one of those days where you're having a bit of stomach issues. You can't go to the poo-poo. You can't do poo-poos. Yeah, this is going to be a very explicit example. And now you're sitting and wondering like, oh, maybe I'm going to go and drink an energy drink so I can like get caffeine to flush it out. No. In the long run, you're going to get that problem where you can't go poo-poo again. You got to solve it from the bottom down. This is worst example I've ever used. Why, Talia? Anyways, like you're gonna have to solve the problem from your diet. Like there's a reason you can't go. There's a reason you can't go poo poo. It's because there's something you gotta fix with your diet. You can drink all the energy drinks you want, but you're not gonna be able to like. In the long run, you're gonna ruin more than you're gonna actually solve because you're trying to mask it. You're trying to mask the problem. That's what we do. when we try to focus all of our energy on feminine energy before we actually go and face our masculine energy and say, you know what? It's okay that I've been in my masculine energy. It's okay. It's been a protectant. I've been doing everything that I thought was the right thing to do for so long because that's what I thought was right. We need to sit down and have that conversation with ourselves. Before you have that conversation, you cannot benefit from any of the feminine energy content that is out there. Because if you cannot accept yourself for the things that you have gone through before the things that you have acquired as lore, as experiences, whatever it is you've gone through, if you cannot sit down and say, thank you, body, thank you, mind, for doing what you thought was right and protecting me, even if that means that I haven't been getting what I think that I can deserve and what I should definitely have now. If you can't sit down and do that, you cannot use feminine energy for anything. And you're going to be joining a cult that's going to brainwash you into believing that you're going to solve things. And you know what you're going to do in the end? You're going to come out on the other side and you're going to feel drained. You're going to be like, why isn't feminine energy solving anything? You're probably going to be like, this is all a scam, because it's going to be a scam for you if you haven't actually sat down and worked on yourself. You can't build a house on a rotten foundation. That's a way better analogy than the than the poop analogy. You cannot, like, if you're going to build your dream house, right? If you're going to step into your receiving energy, feminine energy, a man's going to spoil you, whatever it is you want. And those are very valid desires. What you're going to do is, when you're building a house and you go to the place where you're going to build a house, you buy a lot, right? If there's another house on that lot, if you want to build a house, you're going to have to tear that house down. You're going to have to dig up all the pipes or whatever, figure out if there's mold or, I don't know, mummies, vampires in the basement, whatever. You got to figure that out. You got to figure out whatever's going on there first, and then you can build on top of that. Because if you try to build the house on top of that it's not going to work. Like, it's not going to work, and you're going to have to build around it. You're not going to be able to build everything that you want. You're going to have to adjust to whatever's already there because there's not going to be enough space. That is exactly how it works when you're trying to subscribe to this whole feminine energy ideal, trying to subscribe to this like self-growth ideal, but you're not ready to even face yourself. You're not ready to take responsibility for the fact that the person you were before, she's very valid, even if she had masculine tendencies, even if she had to really step into her masculine energy and protect herself. If you cannot sit down and take responsibility for that and say, I accept every version of myself, even if it's a version of myself that I no longer identify with and I want to grow from, if we cannot accept our past, if we cannot say old me is good, me now is good, future me is good, we're not going to be able to get any benefit from feminine energy, because you know what usually happens? This is the one the girlies don't want to hear. We evolve. We think we evolve. We don't. We think we evolved by stepping into this feminine energy thing, and like we're all wearing dresses and skirts, and it's all about looking soft and speaking soft and all of this. And you know, there's definitely some truth to the whole feminine energy thing. And I usually, the whole feminine energy thing of like tricking men, I believe that that's just tricking men. And you need to learn to do that, girl. That's something you need to learn to do if you're interested in dating men, because they're going to try to trick you if you don't trick them. So trick them anyways. But mastering feminine energy is not something you can do if you do not look inside yourself and say, okay, we're not gonna shame the version of myself that I used to be. That's why we usually, when we step into these like growth mindsets, when we try to think, we think we've grown. You know what happens? We haven't grown, because now we have resentment, or like we shame people that are not doing what we're doing. It's like, oh, you should just step into your feminine energy. Why? It's just because you're not doing this. No, girl. If you're still saying that, if you're like, well, you should just step into your feminine energy because now you've mastered feminine energy, it's not just adjust. If you're saying that towards other people in your mind, even, you haven't healed your masculine self yet. You haven't actually gotten to the part of you where your ego has been cleared. Your ego is still there, and that is very extremely masculine. If you're on some, oh, well, everyone needs to be feminine and feminine energy is everything. You know what feminine energy isn't? Feminine energy isn't dressing up in some nice little dress and thinking that you need to wear flowers in your hair and go sing to the animals in the forest. And now we all need to wear makeup and we all need to only wear pink and only watch Barbie movies or whatever. That's not feminine energy. You know what feminine energy truly is? Feminine energy is being able to sit in an environment and not feel like you need to give, understanding that just because you're somewhere doesn't mean that you have to give. It doesn't mean that you have to solve. It doesn't mean that you need to please. Feminine energy is actually just the law of attraction embodied for women. Because the law of attraction is all about saying, you know what? I'm going to feel comfortable asking for whatever I need to ask for. I'm going to ask. I'm going to be honest about what I want. I'm going to be honest about who I am. But I'm also not going to exert myself to make other people give me what I want if they're not willing to give it to me. I'm just going to put myself in a position where I can get more from the environment that I deserve to be in. I'm going to go where I'm valued. And if you don't value me, that's all okay. I'm going to go somewhere else. Feminine energy is understanding that you do not need to overexert yourself to be able to truly get what you want. It's meaning that you understand that your energy is precious. It's putting energy into yourself. That's why dressing more feminine, especially when you're a neurodivergent, or if you're someone who has like self-love issues, you are in self-love debt, that's why dressing super feminine can actually be a very, very good way to step into that character of receiving more, of getting more, of feeling comfortable asking for more. But those are tools for you to be able to step into that role and embody that. I've done that myself, and it's helped me immensely to step into a place in my life where I feel comfortable asking for more, setting boundaries emotionally, and being the person that I deserve to be, which means that now I can actually step more into just being whoever I want to be, dressing however I want to dress. I can wake up tomorrow and look like a roadman, and I feel comfortable and confident saying that I would have much, much better standards than I would have had many years ago when it comes to setting emotional boundaries and being played by society, because I used to be a people pleaser. And stepping into that feminine energy uniform, that dressing nice, girly, I didn't grow up as a girly girl. I was a girly girl when I was young, but I wasn't a girly girl my teenage life. But stepping into that feminine energy uniform made it much easier for me to set my boundaries and say, this is what I want, this is what I deserve. And when you start embodying it mentally, then you can do whatever it is you want. That is why I hate this idea that feminine energy is all about dressing in skirts and you need to you need to speak softly and you need to wave your hair and we all need to smell like candy floss and sing to the birds and, oh, I'm a damsel in distress. That is not what feminine energy means. Feminine energy is making yourself grow, nurturing yourself, putting yourself sometimes in a position where you have to face a version of yourself that you don't necessarily want to face. For many, many years, for me, I was like someone, I don't like pink, I don't like pink, I don't want to wear dresses, I don't want to wear skirts, I'm a tomboy. I'm like Bella Swan, ho, 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 ho. I'm not like other girls. And for me, that was actually a shadow side I had to face when I started dressing more feminine and wearing bows and all of this, which I actually like doing more now. Then suddenly I realized you're actually shaming a part of yourself that deserves to be nurtured, and that's exactly why you don't feel comfortable receiving. That's exactly why you don't feel comfortable stepping into your own power, resting, nurturing yourself, because you feel like you have to keep up a performance. You feel like you have to be the type of person that you've spoken about being. So, you know what feminine energy also is? Feminine energy is being comfortable being a hypocrite as a woman. Feminine energy is being comfortable being mean. It's being comfortable being seen as someone who's not the nice girl. That is actually also what feminine energy is, because you know what? In order for you to preserve your feminine energy, in order for you to step into that feminine energy and not being robbed by men, you need to be comfortable being perceived as a mean woman who oh, she's not going to take my BS. I'm going to tell her that she's doing too much. I'm going to tell her she shouldn't wear that much makeup. I'm going to tell her that, oh, well, your outfit isn't feminine. So that means that you don't deserve princess treatment, or your outfit is too feminine. You're just performing. Or men are going to say all of these things to try to humble you. They're going to say, oh, you're going to be single for the rest of your life, or you're going to have cats and you're going to die alone with your cats. And they're going to try to say all of this and all of that every time. If you're too hot, they're going to say, well, you're wearing a ton of makeup. If you're not wearing any makeup, they're going to say like, oh, well, you don't do enough for yourself or whatever. Feminine energy is going out there and being like, I'm comfortable being seen as a witch. I'm comfortable being seen as someone who is not pleasing society, because you know what? Society is built for men. Society is built for men. So if you actually truly want to rest in your feminine energy, you need to be a mean woman. You need to be a woman who actually feels comfortable rejecting men to the point where you might die alone. Ooh. Because anything is better than you literally putting yourself in the masculine position of trying to chase men, but also chase the idea that feminine energy is going to be able to solve all your problems. Well, in reality, everything that you need is within yourself. Everything that you need is within yourself. And you truly know you've made it as a woman. You truly know that you're actually stepping into your own power when you feel comfortable and you feel slightly happy when people actually call you mean things. When people actually say you're mid, or I'm going to expose you, or like, oh, you're a hypocrite, or you're always talking about this and this and that, and now you changed. Yeah, because feminine energy is not tethered. Feminine energy is not built on one specific inner image. Feminine energy is not, you need to be someone who has like, oh, a Coca-Cola bottle figure and you wear summer dresses. And no, that's not what feminine energy is. Feminine energy is running wild. Feminine energy is letting people think whatever they want to think. And then understanding that they can't cage you. Because feminine energy is expression. Feminine energy is growth. Feminine energy is community. Feminine energy is seeing different perspectives and being open to actually facing a version of yourself you've never faced before. Feminine energy is letting yourself see something you haven't seen before and saying, okay, I'll try it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And if it works, it works. Feminine energy is letting yourself fall and get back up again. Feminine energy isn't dressing up in a little cute dress and then posting a picture and being like, I'm a girl's girl. No. I mean, you can also do that. We should all do that. But feminine energy is so much more. But if we keep subscribing to this idea that feminine energy is like this term that we need to live up to, and it's all about, or if you watch enough social media videos about feminine energy, then everything is going to be solved. No, you're stepping into your masculine energy. You're not facing yourself. You're letting the world be the problem. You're not facing what you need to face, which is your masculine energy. Your masculine energy that makes you feel like you need to chase. That is what you need to face first. And then from there, when you face that, either by talking to, ChatGPT or a therapist, or even just writing in your diary, from there, you can step into your feminine energy. That's your nature. That's your nature. We don't need to chase it. It's there. You just have it. You've locked it down and you've let it be in the corner because your masculine energy is still so prominent. So you think you're in your feminine energy, but in reality, you're not, because feminine energy is energy that makes you able to actually do whatever you want, whenever you want, and still understand that you're valuable. No matter how you dress, no matter how you show up, no matter what, that's feminine energy. But men can't handle that. That's very different from you using patriarchy to your benefit, tricking men so you can actually get to a point in your life where you can truly step into your feminine energy, which is you expressing yourself, doing whatever you want. So girl, don't fall for the cult of feminine energy. I'm going to use feminine energy in my videos for sure, because I'm smart. I'm not going to not max out on using those words. But understand this. If you do not face your masculine energy first, feminine energy will be a cult.